countries that have been demonized by both this president and ICE. I am looking at just another group of incompetent white men making decisions about brown and Black people in this country. And specifically, I had no idea who Anthony Romano was before a few weeks ago when I attended my first Freeholders meeting. But thankfully, when I cast my ballot a few weeks ago, I did not cast a vote for you after learning that you supported keeping up a statue of Christopher Columbus. Like, it's just, I just don't understand how you guys have these positions of power. It's mind-blowing that these decisions are in your hands. You literally have no skin in the game. You think that this job gives you license to make arbitrary decisions about these extremely important matters. And I think it's important for you to remember that you don't serve a political machine, you serve your constituents. And there's so many people in this call that are so much smarter than you, just leaps and bounds smarter than you. And still, and they're stakeholders. It's not like they don't have any skin in the game.
Your time is up. The next speaker is Matthew Scholar.
Hi. My commentary is actually directed towards Freeholder Cifelli. My name is Matthew Scholar. I'm a Kearney resident, and I've been waiting 12 hours to speak. I wanted to say thank you for your vote tonight. Thank you for inspiring me to do everything in my power to remove you and your colleagues from office. Thank you for reaffirming for my generation that the Democratic Party will never serve us. I'm working with colleagues across the state to build up general election opposition to people just like you. I'm working on building up the Green Party of Hudson County. And as your constituent, I can proudly say that we will not forget this vote tonight. And we will be after you in the coming election.
I think Mr. Scholar is just finished. The next speaker is Jason Flatt.
Hi. Actually, similar comment to Matthew before. I really appreciate the opportunity to have been radicalized by this day's absolutely pathetic affairs. I look forward to helping radicalize other folks to be just as much so disappointed in all of your work this evening and this morning and this afternoon. And Mr. Romano, I would just like to make absolute certain for the minutes that it is clear that you threatened a constituent. And as you've sat there watching videos on your computer and working or whatever it is you're doing, but threatening a constituent is something that is beyond inappropriate. Anything that anyone said to you or about Mr. Cifelli or anyone else is inconsequential compared to how elected officials have treated their constituents today. And I mean, I can go on and on about the decision that you've made and how pathetic it is and how absolutely abhorrent it is morally, legally, and financially. But the most important thing for you to know is threatening your constituent is utterly unacceptable. And I look forward to doing everything I can to make sure you suffer the consequence for that. And yeah, I'll yield my time and fuck you all.
Next speaker is Caitlin Sherman.
Good morning.
Hold on, Caitlin Sherman.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, good morning, Kate.
Okay, good morning. All right, so look, I'm not going to get into all the moral arguments against what y'all did because y'all already did it and you didn't listen to them for the first 9 hours, so why would you listen to them now after 1 a.m.? I will, however, point out, Freeholder Cifelli, you said towards the end after the vote that you didn't agree with when the vote was. was held, that you didn't like that it was held on this kind of weird day on a holiday week and at a weird time. But you also didn't second Freeholder O'Day yesterday when he motioned to move the vote at the caucus meeting. So like you had an opportunity to not hold the meeting now, but you didn't take it. So I don't get why you're complaining about it now when you could have taken action to change this, but you didn't. You interrupted my comments earlier today when I was saying that about Democrats and Republicans and how I'd much rather be spending my time fighting Republicans than fighting Democrats, but y'all aren't making that easy for me. And you said that people like me or something to that effect are the reason why Democrats are losing, is what you shouted over me. I beg to differ. I believe it's people like you are the reason why Democrats are losing. Because why would anyone vote for a Democrat who supports ICE? Like, come on. Like, you're just a light Republican. Like, you're a diet Republican. Like, if someone wants to support Republicans, they're going to support Republicans. If they want to support people who aren't Republicans, they kind of don't have too many options at this point. Like, what is the difference? What's the difference? What's the point? What's the difference? Like, you know, you spend all this time not seeing the forest for the trees because you talked to somebody once in the detention center that apparently wasn't even translated correctly, and you think that, you know, they said that they didn't want to be transferred to a different facility, so therefore we can't shut down ours ever, or at least in the next decade, even though Freeholder O'Day gave you the option of phasing it out again, which y'all said that you were going to do 2 years ago again, but you didn't. Like, why not take that option? Why not phase it out? You didn't. You handed the county executive a blank check for 10 years, a decade. That's a long time. That is, we'll have gone through, what, 2-3 more presidential elections by then? Who's going to be in the White House?
Your time is up. Next speaker is Sharon Carlton. I believe her husband spoke earlier.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. We're still on the.
Kareem, you already spoke. So unless you spoke once already during the public portion.
Can I ask my wife to come back?
Uh,
Or can I just ask 2 questions?
No, you spoke already, sir. We have to provide the time for others. Jamie San Andres.
Hi, everyone. I didn't get a chance to finish my last statement, and they were really questions for Cifelli and for Caridad. So I don't know if Caridad is still on. Is she still on? She's not.
No, ma'am.
Well, I guess for the record, maybe she'll get the message now in terms of her making comments about being grateful for this country and how Hudson County has received her. I'd like to ask why not grant others the same treatment that she has received. And in reference to the comment regarding law and order, you know, when the legal opportunity was granted to her, how is it not a double standard that now it is being denied to others? And for everyone else here that has used legality as a claim, I think it is enough. Citing laws is not a sufficient argument, for, as you know, laws can also be immoral. Laws can also be unjust. Slavery was legal, but was it moral? No, it wasn't, and neither was this. And it was your responsibility as officials to vote and act, not on the basis of legality, but based on what is right. And I'm extraordinarily disappointed that you all are not on the right side of history based on your decisions tonight. And to Cifelli, I guess my question really was, where I was going at is, who do you serve? Is it us or is it ICE? And if it is us, how are you going to do service to the hundreds of testimonies that you heard today? How are you going to do service to your constituents? I'd like an answer.
Oh, I think that was a rhetorical question.
No.
Your first question was, do I serve ICE or who?
Us, your
Us
constituent.
meaning like the constituents? The constituents.
Yep. How are you doing? How is your vote today doing any service to the hundreds of testimonies? I've been on this call since 1 p.m. This is the longest call I've ever been in my entire life.
Okay.
And there was not one comment, not one in 12 hours that were in favor of this. So how is your decision? How are you going to do service to all of those hundreds of testimonies that oppose this?
Well,
You serve us as you say you do.
Well, I think in my comments before my vote, I think I responded to the public's comments. I didn't ignore the public's comments. I thought I made my comments in response to the public's comments. So they're a matter of record.
But your comments have not been, they've been totally ripped apart in terms of your argument. Like,
Well, that's your opinion, ma'am, and I appreciate you have an opinion, and I have one. So I understand you disagree with my position.
Ms. San Andres has 15 seconds left. I credit her time.
the last question, do you really think you'd prefer to be in jail versus your family? To your
Absolutely, no, ma'am, absolutely not. That's not the issue. That's not the issue before us.
It is the issue.
Well, I respectfully disagree, and you obviously didn't listen to my comments. So there you go.
I heard them very clearly.
No,
I just
no, but you didn't understand them. Maybe that's
No, I think you didn't understand the hundreds of testimonies today.
Ms. San Andres, your 3 minutes are up.
All right.
Next speaker is Elijah Stevens.
Thank you. My name is Elijah Stevens. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Hi, I'm a resident of New York City, and I've been waiting since 1 o'clock. I raised my hand at that point. So I reject and resent the assertion that everybody had the opportunity to testify today. I am going to be presenting the testimonies of 2 people who are currently detained at Hudson County who have specifically spoken to people who do direct service provision in the facility and have specifically spoken and called for an end to this ICE contract. So the one is from somebody who's been there for 2.5 months and is from Brooklyn, which is where I live. The contract should end because that jail is terrible, they said. They put me in isolation without medical attention, and I was put in a cell with others with no masks and no social distancing. On one occasion, my family came to visit me, but the guards didn't let me in, saying that visit time was over. But other people and families were allowed in. We also had to pay a tax at the commissary, and we had to pay for things like soap and toothpaste. This is from somebody who is from Honduras who was previously detained there. I was detained at the facility for 2.5 months in 2008. They shouldn't have so many people detained there. They treat you horribly for being Latino, for being a transgender woman, for having a different sexual orientation than other people. There's a lot of discrimination towards Latinos at that detention center. That jail should be shut down so that there can be no more problems, no more stress. When people come out, they have to take so much medication for their depression. I have had to see a psychologist, a psychiatrist. That jail must be shut down. And then a third from somebody who has been in detention there for 2 years. They are also from New York City, like I am. They are my neighbor and have lived in the USA for 15 years. As a detainee in Hudson County, the officers treat the detainees like we are criminals, they say. The officers say hateful things like we have no rights, that this is not our country, and that they will abuse you and lock you in the box for a long time with no access to the phone to tell your family of the abuse. Hudson County Jail is not a safe place for any detainee. Without the help of Rosa and friends, all detainees would be abused every day. I would hope that you take these testimonials into account and have them read into the record. And I am deeply frustrated that you did not take them before, but it also seems like you were not actually listening to these kind of testimonials, because this kind of testimonial was presented time and time and time again all day today. So I'm a New Yorker. I can't vote for you or against you, but you should know sure as hell that I will be out your doors, at your offices, at your homes, at everywhere you go with other New Yorkers and other New Jersey residents fighting you every step of the way against this contract, against everything you do, so that you do not see peace. Because
Mr.
there is
Stevens, your time is up. Next speaker is Nicole Guglielmelli.
Hi, Nicole Guglielmi here. I'm not going to waste time arguing tonight because I did it before and it's clear I, along with everyone else, wasn't listened to. To those of you who voted to renew this contract, I consider you morally bankrupt. I feel numb right now because for 9 hours, I, along with you all, listened to such heartbreaking testimonies, people begging you to end this contract, including myself. And you listened to all of that and decided to vote against the wishes of your constituents. You talk about the moderates of Hudson County. Did they come today in favor of this contract? They sit through 9 hours of testimony. I'm so sick of this supposed silent majority BS because that's what you sounded like, Commissioner Cifelli. In regards to those of you who are Christians, as I've heard some of you mention it, y'all really think Jesus, a persecuted brown man, would support ICE, would support the detainment of people who, it's important to note, prior to colonization, moved freely through these lands because it is their land. This was all Turtle Island, still is. But you cage these human beings and you think it's different than the genocides of the past. It's not. We're saying it's not, and you refuse to listen. Commissioner Romano, are you seriously still watching your TV? You said you're a grandchild of immigrants when declaring your vote. How dare you bear those words with pride in defense of voting in favor of this contract? But as it's already been said, this is no surprise because white immigrant groups such as Italians, which I believe we both are based off of your name, have weaponized our whiteness to get ahead, forgoing class solidarity. I recognize this while also being proud to be granddaughter of a Sicilian immigrant who worked in a sweatshop to support her family here. But we are not the same, me and yourself, Commissioner Romano, because I intend to do better than my grandparents. After your vote tonight, I feel that these past few hours are wasted. Did anyone change their minds? Honestly, I'm sorry to say that you did not get the pleasure of destroying my faith in electoralism and our supposed democracy, which doesn't exist. That's happened years ago, and I'm 18, so that's impressive, isn't it? But you definitely did some damage to the little faith I had in local politics. So congrats. I hope that makes you happy. I'd just like to end my comment by saying the Republican and Democratic parties are two sides of the same coin, and tonight further proves this for me. Electoralism is not and never will be how we achieve liberation. That being said, to those who voted against the contract tonight, thank you. To those who voted in favor of it, fuck you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we now go to Corinne Van Oppen, excuse me.
Good night. I have only one thing to say. I heard a lot of things tonight about who is in the jail and why they're there. I mean, the detainees. And I would like to give an example of a couple that is very famous, or at least in New Jersey, from the New Jersey Housewives, Joe and Teresa. They each went to jail, something to do with fraud. And Joe has been sent back to Italy. I think we both saw them as an Italian-American couple, but Joe had never gotten citizenship, even though he had been here since he was 1 year old. And that's the only difference why Teresa is still here and Joe went back. So that's something for people to take into account. Citizenship is the only thing that makes the difference. And as the brother from Honduras earlier said, there were even thoughts of taking back citizenship in case you got into some trouble. So really, it's not easy, and people need to know what all of this is about before they make these opinions. I'm very happy that all the immigrant lawyers didn't show up this time to make their case, because obviously something for them changed as well, to just say we're staying neutral this time instead of coming here to speak for this contract. And if that didn't say anything for you all, I do not know what could have changed it. I cannot say I'm surprised by the outcome. I wish I was. Have a good night, at least to everybody who's still there.
Thank you. Next speaker is Rita. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Rita DeLu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I'm 19 years old. I live in Essex County, the This is only my second Freeholders meeting that I've tuned into, and I've completely lost faith in, our county governments here in New Jersey. The fact that all of the speakers today for 9 straight hours asked you not to renew this contract. They drew from their own traumatic experiences, which didn't seem to affect you at all, as you guys kind of didn't take it into account when making your decisions, and then you complained about how COVID is ruining your Thanksgiving, and also people's years of expertise, and then when you all started to justify your vote preemptively, you were sputtering and grasping at straws, and it was super clear that your vote had already been decided at 1 p.m. I bet you wish that the donors who bought your loyalty had given you stronger talking points that stood up against 9 hours of honest testimony. People will probably die as a result of this vote. I found especially sinister, Freeholder Cifelli, the times when you laughed during testimony. I also find especially sinister Freeholder Romano, the flashing lights of the TV on your face. My sister is here with me, and she has a couple words to fill the rest of my time.
Yeah, my name's Josie. I'm a 16-year-old student, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to everyone, no matter how long it would take or how many times people told you to go to hell. Thanks for voting in favor of the community. Oh wait, never mind. I think you guys forgot that these are actually people's lives and they're actually being affected, and you are insane. Cifelli and Romano, you guys have no empathy, and I can't believe you even exist. Okay, yeah.
I mean, at some point you kind of stop being human. You're just become an ATM for special interests who want to detain other people. You are terrible. You give democracy a bad name because it's not democracy. It's a plutocracy. Whoever has the most money to chill you out at their expense wins, and they won tonight. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
The last speaker at our cutoff is by the name of Evan. Please state your full name. Evan, do you wish to speak? Evan, do you wish to speak? He has something wrong with his device. He's not transmitting. That was the last speaker at the cutoff, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do you have any other comments from the administration? Any comments from any members of the board? The only thing I would say before we adjourn, there were a lot of issues brought up today concerning incidents that may have occurred recently, or at least within the last year or since COVID at the facility. I would ask that we get an expedited transcript and make it available to Director Edwards, and that Director Edwards be prepared to address issues that were raised by speakers and people who made statements that were presented to them by individuals who were at or continue to be at the facility. I think that we need to, the public has a right for us to get to an answers on that or get a response from the department director. So I would ask that we expedite.
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes,
one comment just on the proceedings. I just wanted to thank all the members of the public. I know it was a long, long day. It's the longest day I've ever spent as a freeholder, soon to be commissioner. And I want to, despite a lot of the rancor and vitriol that was in personal comments. I want to thank everybody for hanging in there and giving their comments. They're right. That's how democracy works. I want to thank you and your predecessor in the chair for conducting it as civilly as could be. I want to thank my colleagues, but most of all, I want to thank the stenographer, and the clerk, and our counsel, and have a and I'm sure this is going to be criticized, but I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Freeholder Cifelli. Anyone else? Again, I would wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, all the speakers. We respect what everyone had to say today, even if everyone didn't agree. We need to respect what everyone has to say, and I know that things get a little out of hand when tensions rise, but move forward. We'll take a minute. If there's no other business, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. It's Kopacz and Walker.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.